path goes today, those blue lines you see here, those represent current flight tracks. And what we're aiming to do is to tighten up the initial right turn that aircraft make to reduce the number of planes that drift south.
The checkpoint that was being discussed is checkpoint 2 that flies as far as Beverly Glen and then turns north. This isn't proposed. It's happening right now. Take a look.
This does not work. NextGen does not work. A half-mile path over any neighborhood is not acceptable. Not acceptable.
Reference Benedict Canyon settlement. Nobody in this room has ever seen that.
What's the settlement?
So, as part of the settlement, air traffic indicated here's 2 procedures we can change. And because of that, they dropped the lawsuit.
Why was this flight pattern chosen?
We're here. This is not working. We're here with people separated out, and we're not going to sit here and answer questions.
Why?
That's what we're here for. It's easier to
Okay.
Can't be cordial. We're going to have to shut him down.
We're going to be cordial.
Plain and simple.
We're going to be cordial.
Probably about 600,000.
And I got 0 answers.
We're like sheep going looking for a shepherd. We don't even know who to talk to.
Well, we did get a good response right after the FAA workshop. Well, they anteed up. They actually did a disclosure of the agreement they made with the Benedict Hills Association. And it did, as we thought, say that it was going to flights, those waypoints that would actually be north of Mulholland rather than south.
I don't think that there's any doubt that the flight paths have changed. So why have they changed?
I can't really tell you exactly why. I think the Landrum-Brown report cited a multiple number of factors that could be leading to the change, the gradual shift.
It affect a community in a negative way, but benefited another community that this flight pattern was over their neighborhoods, or what happened? Are you getting a positive comments from another community that, wow, the noise went down and what happened?
People rarely call and make positive
comments. I know. Flight pattern changing, it benefits one community versus another. Am I correct?
Stand to reason, yes. That is what would occur if the tracks tend to shift south. The folks who were originally under there have seen some relief.
We, the people, cannot be compromised. We can't trade one neighborhood over the other.
Commissioner Adams and I, we've flown airplanes ourselves out here. Justify that we haven't really been able to get our hands around, what was it that changed, who made the change, why did they do it?
Seriously, and that's why we did the whole Landrum-Brown study. Now that we've completed the study and documented that in fact the residents were right and there has been a substantial change, we're not done. Understand, well, okay, is there a way to effectuate that change? If these residents are not getting noise anymore and these are now, and we change it back, then we're back to the original. It's a zero-sum game. That it's not absolutely clear what the source of all these changes are, and we need to be able to demonstrate that the new procedures, the waypoints, are the best ones available, given the fact that the climate's hotter and all the other things that we talked about.
And they cannot have those low flybys in any neighborhood. The frequency every 2 to 3 minutes, unacceptable.
Or a meeting with the airlines and the pilots. So I urge you to pursue that with vigor. Reasonable request, because it would appear that some of the reason that there's been a change in the departure patterns is attributable to the airlines and the pilots.
Because we're talking about mostly air carrier operations, which are on instrument flight plans, what they're looking at are the departure and arrival procedures that are published. And that's really all you have to go on to use, because the assumption is once you're using one of those procedures, you can't see anything in the gray. You don't know where you are. You're just following a procedure going by the instruments in the cockpit. At some airports, particularly general aviation airports that are mostly visually operated aircraft, they will note noise-sensitive areas on maps and things and descriptions. You see it a lot on their websites, please avoid overflight of certain areas, things like that, because those types of aircraft have the ability to, since they're operating visually, okay, I want to avoid this community over here, I'd like to follow the riverbed or something like that. Building a instrument flight procedure that way is not typical, and it's not easy to do.
See, typical is not what we're after. That's the point.
We are demanding that they don't fly so low overhead where you can almost read the plane's numbers.
But it is one of the things that we requested when we said, couldn't you move the waypoints over a freeway versus a community, that the FAA would not necessarily have evaluated it quite that way.
It's a term. It's just a term that we came up with. It means Metroplex is part of the next gen changes. It's nothing. Next gen is just encompasses a lot of technology. You know, that now aircraft are equipped. Global positioning system is available. We don't use. Will eventually. So GPS, if we can relate to GPS.
Congress and tell them to scrap next gen because there are lawsuits all over the country. We're not going to. Technology is supposed to be in the service of humankind.
If you had jets flying over your house every minute, how would that feel?
The planes are flying over our heads and our school.
Great.
They're making a lot of noise.
Does it bother you?
Yeah.
It does. How about you?
Yeah, it's hard to concentrate, especially doing homework.
Creating insomnia for some people, headaches, the inability for kids to function. Eventually it affects the brain, and the pollutants, particles that come down, are life-threatening. So what you can do is look at the information below this video, and please go to the website FAA, file your own complaints, and sign any of the petitions. These are no longer the friendly skies. They're an enemy like a superhighway. So remember, you could be next. Lynn Ross here, signing off. The other thing that was in that agreement is one paragraph that I found very disturbing. They actually stated that they would vigorously fight any group or any individual that went against the agreement. So the Justice Department doesn't have enough people to review everything in a proper way, so they are rubber stamping some of the things. But it's such strong language for we the people that are fighting to protect our children from the low flybys and the pollutants.
Sun is up, happy, happy, happy day. Love, 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 way. Merry way day.